And today we will continue with, of course, the evangelism playbook as we are continuing. And if you guys are listening to this sermon, when I was listening to the sermon yesterday, I am very, very cut, especially for those that are more mature in the faith, because we're going to be talking about social media evangelism. And for some of us oldies who have been, we've gotten mature and we've gotten used to evangelizing on the streets, this is very new territory. And so, where is your heart and skills in this area of loving the lost? Sometimes for us, we have to ask ourselves, do you know how to evangelize on social media? Right. You know your why, you know how to do it, and you keep going. But I think for some of us, even I myself am counted there, I don't know how to do it. I know my why. I just need to learn, the tips and tricks behind it. For some of us, I'm not sure if there are, but, maybe there are hidden ones. Maybe you do know how to evangelize on social media, but maybe you've lost your why. And again, hopefully you're not in, I don't want to, and I don't know why. Just going through some scriptures, before we start. In Matthew 5:14-16, it says, "You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify the Father in heaven." You hear this, and for those that don't post on social media, it takes a hit. Because if we don't show other people our lives as Christians, we are putting the light of the world under a bowl. Because isn't being a Christian supposed to be this incredible joy? Yeah. So why are we then hiding it from people? And I'm very grateful for Josh. Ever since she got here, it's like, hey, post. Show other people you're still alive as a disciple. And that's still an ongoing thing. For us Chinese, I don't want to post. I don't want other people to ask about my life. But isn't evangelizing the point of having other people ask us about Jesus? Matthew 3, verse 5-6. "People went out to him from Jerusalem and all Judea and the whole region of the Jordan. Confessing their sin, they were baptized by him in the river." Jesus was in the habit of letting more and more people know about him. Matthew 4:23-25. "Jesus went throughout Galilee, teaching in their synagogues, proclaiming the good news of the kingdom, and healing every disease and sickness among the people. News about him spread all over Syria, and people brought to him all who were ill with various diseases, those suffering severe pain, the demon-possessed, those having seizures, and the paralyzed, and he healed them. Large crowds from Galilee, the Decapolis, Jerusalem, Judea, and the region across the Jordan followed him." Isn't that the point of social media? Is to tell other people more and more, even those that you don't know, who share the good news for you. Right. And even to the point that Jesus' good news spread all over Syria. Right. And so that's many towns outside Jerusalem. Right. Matthew 5, verse 8. "When Jesus had entered Capernaum, a centurion came to him asking for help." 1 Thessalonians 2, verse 8. "So we cared for you, because we loved you so much. We were delighted to share with you not only the gospel of God, but our lives as well." And these are common words that we hear, sharing our lives. That's essentially social media. And, of course, I'm not telling you guys, okay, be on social media 24/7. Don't be self-focused. But the focus here is, hey, we are now in the age of the internet, where sharing the good news is that easy. Jesus wanted his message to spread beyond himself. And therefore, we must do the same. If people don't know you, you cannot really have an influence on them. So the why, what is the heart behind it? 1 Corinthians 9, verse 19. "Though I am free and belong to no one, I've made myself a slave to everyone, to win as many as possible." And social media, it really is to win as many people as possible. Think about it. Anybody that has a phone is the person that you can reach out to. That is how powerful it is. If you guys are not convinced of this, I challenge you, go on your phone right now, go to settings, and press, what do you call this? The, how many hours you spend. The average person spends 5 hours a day on the phone. 1 hour on Instagram or Facebook or something like that. Another hour on music, on podcasts, another hour on the news, another hour on entertainment. Now imagine if you as a disciple are able to infiltrate even an hour into this person's life. That is already a change in them. You know, if we can change our own habits, think about it. If you spend as much time on Reels, making Reels honoring God, how much more of an impact will you make for Christ? You know, again, this is not a call for you to be overcome with about what it's about me. You know, for some of us who are, you know, a bit more mature in the faith, we must overcome this prejudice. It's like, you know, I'm used to evangelizing on the streets. I'm used to doing my own thing. Why should I learn this new thing? You know, too often we can be fixated on our old ways, but let's be honest. As the times change, we must learn how to change with it to win as many people as possible. And it's a very big shift. You know, you ask Livia, how many photos do you have on your phone? No, more. Yeah, go. 60,000 photos on her phone. You know, just ask her about it. And then you ask the brothers, how many photos do you have? Some say 500, some say 1,000, some say you're supposed to take photos. And so, for some of us, we need to break that barrier and go, hey, if I want to share my life, I need to take photos. You know, I need to learn that skill. You know, it's not meant for you to be self-focused. It's not meant for you to be more consumed about yourself. But this exact reason of unwillingness to change will stop you from being effective in this way. You know, 1 Chronicles 12:32, it says, from Issachar, men who understood the times and knew what Israel should do. 200 chiefs with all their relatives under their command. You know, even in the Old Kingdom, in the Old Testament, people understood who were wise at that time and took advice. And for us as well, we must go after seeking advice in this area. Because for some of us, let's be honest, this is very new to us.
That's true.
You know, I think one great thing is, I think in the movement, people are actually advancing in this area very, very quickly. And so if you guys are going to the wedding this coming Saturday, if you ask Mark Leo, he has 30,000 followers on Instagram. And he has been able to use this to reach out to mainland Chinese in London, in Australia, in mainland China, teaching them what it means to understand God in their local language. One of the sisters in Sydney, her name is Divinus, who is right now roughly 20, who is coming to the wedding as well. She has been very, very effective in using TikTok, Instagram, to reach and study the Bible with people through these short form medias. So we must go after it. Ask the right people. You know, with more and more people working from home, this is a great way for us to meet people where they're at. Because let's be honest, these people will most probably never, the chances of them meeting us is very low. But through this short form media, we will be able to reach out to people we would never reach out, you know, in our own common day life. You know, people today working from home, let's be honest, are they really working? They work, they take a break, they work, they take a break. If you can even reach out to these people in that break time to introduce the gospel, that will make a big difference. We are now able to evangelize all groups of people, all cultures, globally, all ages, at all times.
Right. Come on, bro, preach.
It allows us to evangelize in cities and villages we would never even think of. I really am just hearing just being able to hear Michelle Michelle reaching out to Kiara, in Japan. Think about it. For us today, we are one of the privileged disciples to study the Bible with someone on Zoom.
Right.
You don't need to physically be next to the person to introduce the gospel. Only in the last 100 years do we have that privilege. Even Eric Valenzuela, if you know this great brother, who is right now in Brisbane, he was able to be a missionary and he was sent over to Samoa. And even in our old movement, the COC, we weren't able to go there. And for him, through God, of course, he was able to baptize the first Samoan in the movement. And think about it, this is a far-flung country. How much more you go, wow, I was able to be used by God to baptize someone in this new nation that was only created in the last 100, 200 years. When I was in 2-3 years ago, Joe asked me to preach a sermon in staff meeting in the Shanghai airport. And so he was like, oh yeah, bro, you learned a lot in Sydney. Why don't you preach, in the Shanghai airport, And I was like, what the heck? Like, first VPN, second, I'm in mainland China. How would that work? And so I was there in my suit, next to my trolley, in a communist country. And I was like, wow, I can't imagine that I, of all people, a Filipino, would preach here. And for some of us, we're going through new territories. Imagine if you become the person that is most effective at reaching out to people through Weibo, Xiaohongshu. Just imagine that you are able to reach the gospel through God in a village that the Bible has not touched yet. That is the power, social media has. For most of us, now your family members can now study the Bible. For most of us who are now, who have families in, with no churches, through Zoom. We can now have live stream and bring people to live stream. Now we have the privilege of having this sense of cross-pollination, where it's not just one church studying the Bible, it's multiple people helping each other study the Bible. June coming over from the London church. The London church reached out to June first, came over here, studied the Bible together in different time zones, then to get baptized and to be, shipped back. But now we have this opportunity to have this partnership with different churches to bring the gospel. Different social groups we would have a difficult time of reaching. Young mothers at home, single mothers that don't have a chance to go out. The disabled, they can watch, they can see these sermons. The aged, you can evangelize simply by sitting down. That is insane. Thousands of people are living in situations that you can relate with. And for some of us, let's be honest, most of us here aren't, there are very few people here that are Hong Kongers. And for some of those that are international, we go, I'm in Hong Kong, I can't speak the language, I can't relate to these people. Through the internet, you can't say that. You go to Facebook, there's a Thai group chat. There's probably a UK expats group chat. There's a region from mainland China group chat. This group chat, this group chat. You can always relate to somebody. And it's so much easier to find them. For some of the younger people, university students, young adults, social anxiety is normal. And it's very, very interesting because I hear this sermon, I'm like, wow, okay. For some of us, when we go on campus or something, and someone reaches out to us face to face, for us that's normal. Right. For the younger people, that's abnormal. Right. And you ask many of the people who are younger, they go, I would rather look at that really nice invite, know nobody in this invite or this nice little advertisement, and go there and feel awkward and relate to people, than being met on campus, feel awkward, and I would never go to these events. That is where things are going. And if we don't adapt, we will be left behind.
That's true.
Social media gives us a chance to share our lives with people before they meet us in person. So let me ask you, how does your Instagram look like? How does your Facebook profile look like? Is your profile picture, a photo of a chair? And someone goes to you and go, who's this chair? I don't remember meeting him. He's not a person. Why would I let him invite me to church then? That's super weird. Or maybe your profile picture is SpongeBob, and you go, I like SpongeBob because I relate to it. Well, people can't relate to you. So you will be ineffective. I'm sorry. Why do we do this? Well, because this evangelism is able to reach other people like no other ways of evangelism. To give you some idea, right? Facebook has 3.07 billion users. Some of these people are, for some of us, 25 to 34 years old. Naturally, the younger people are moving away. WhatsApp, 2.78 billion. YouTube, 2.5 billion. Instagram, 2 billion. TikTok, we don't have that, 1.6 billion. WeChat, 1.3 billion. Telegram, 1 billion. Messenger, 1 billion. Snapchat, surprised it's still alive, 900 million. Douyin, 766 million. And I also did some research as well on the Hong Kong trends. Facebook, WhatsApp, approximately 70.6% of Hong Kong people use it. YouTube, 83.1% use it. Instagram, 58%. TikTok, Douyin, 2%. Threads, surprisingly, 17%. Xiaohongshu, there's no precise statistics, but it's mostly female, apparently. This is what the article says. Messenger, Telegram, Snapchat, roughly 25%. People are looking for God and the truth online more than ever.
Right, tell us, bro.
So many times, you go on YouTube and you search these hashtag Christian trends. And there's so many people. Many people are looking for God, looking for sermons, looking to feed their desire to understand God. How many people are actively going on virtual worship? Ever since COVID, more and more people are now relying on live stream to understand God more than ever. And so many others, digital discipleship, online platforms where people could read the Bible together. So many people are looking.
Sure. Come on, bro.
You might think it's weird, but for most of these people, it is normal now.
Come on, bro.
And we must learn how to use it effectively. So point number 1, how do we evangelize in this way?
Come on.
Are you aware of how many different ways there are to reach this invisible continent?
Right.
Instagram, Facebook, Bumble, X, Twitter. TikTok is not allowed here. We were on a taxi from the airport, and they recently advertised Amigos as a group chat to meet new friends. That's a new way. Snapchat, WeChat, Threads, and Bilibili is now very important. Of course, many specific countries have different apps to use. And, every app has its own focus as well. If you're looking to build a community, use Facebook. More people are on there. Event promotions, reaching out to broader and older demographic. Instagram, TikTok, maybe not TikTok. Best for reaching younger audiences with short, engaging video content. YouTube for hosting long-form content, sermons, service, live streams, etc. Use group chats. I think this is something that I haven't really used or done in a while. But if you have a lot of people from WeChat or from mainland China, they go, hey, can you please add me into the group? And I don't use WeChat, so I don't know what that means. And so, but for many times, correct me if I'm wrong, in mainland WeChat, they have an option where you just get added into a group chat and you don't really respond to anything. But you just post updates on there. And people just go, oh, I'm now free. I can now just go. And people just want to be added so that they have that option. Maybe that's something you might need to look into. But I think in every single way of social media evangelism, you must be consistent. People are looking more so for consistency rather than a one-time thing. And so you must dedicate time to it. While a little bit more tricky, try using LinkedIn. You'd be surprised. I think in Sydney or many of the Western countries, a lot of Christians are looking for Christian ways to do business. And as of now, it's a very rare thing. There are a lot of Christians in the business world who want to connect, who obviously have a higher standard. How many times in Sydney or even in Auckland that in their resume, I'm not sure if you should do this, in their resume or in their CV, they put Christian. And how many times people got accepted? The boss is like, oh yeah, I'm Christian. Oh, you're Christian too. This is awesome. I want to hire you. People are looking for that. Even our Sunday venue, the reason or the story behind that is one of my friends before was looking for a venue to host church. And so they looked for a whole day, nothing happened. And all of a sudden he stumbled into this little venue, talks to the owner, and the owner goes, "Whoa, you're a Christian, you're holding church here. Whoa, I'm a Christian too. I want to give you a discount, but you must promise me, please evangelize my coworkers." And so we've been using that venue for a really long time now. And so, people are looking for Christianity, especially in the workforce. Social media is a bottomless pit of resources. It is best to start mastering one. Instead of being a master of everything, it's like, I want to do, Bilibili, Facebook. I want to master them all. I think it's good for you to just pick one and go, hey, I can read Chinese. Okay, I'll just do Bilibili. I want to try this. Or I want to focus on 小红书 or something like that. And then there's so many resources. Just type on Google or Baidu or something like that, how to be effective in blank in reaching out to people. So many articles. There are ways to learn. Sometimes we simply need to apply ourselves.
Right, come on, bro, preach.
Instead of spending hours scrolling, turn this time into hours of evangelizing. If you want to improve in this matter, simply look for someone and find accountability groups there. If you have this accountability group, it doesn't matter, it's just social media or anything else, or even exercise. If you have a group chat going, hey, I've worked out. Hey, I've worked out here. I've worked out. You will continuously exponentially grow. Maybe you might not see results, but there's this growth. And that is sometimes what we need to do. Look for people that can keep you accountable.
Right.
Mark, Venus, IG. If you want to master 小红书, Arya has been really effective there. Give them a call. Get accountable. Exchange ideas. Hey, I think this is working. I think this is not working. How can we do better? The principles. To bring people to church or create Bible studies using social media, you need to build an authentic community through consistent and engaging personal content. And you need to be ready for the long haul. To always, to even have, ideas ready for any time. Focus on sharing video testimonials, behind the scenes content of church life. Maybe you're having Bible talk and the sisters are super happy, they're joking and they're making food. That is attractive.
Come on, bro.
Uplifting messages, quotes, sermon clips, encouraging and motivating things, welcoming events, and all of these different things. Key strategies include user-generated content leveraging Facebook groups. It means, okay, if Jash has a really great photo of the Bible talk and she posted it, guys, just repost it on yours. Yeah. You don't have to make your own. You can simply help others and it will do the work.
Yes.
Come on,
Matthew.
Key strategies to bring people to church or Bible talk. Prioritize video content. Reels, TikToks, YouTube shorts, showing worship, sermon highlights, and all these things. Why is that important? Why is video or images important? Because you are showing people what it really is. Yeah. Now, if you ask a Filipino and invite them to church, what is their view of church? 50,000, no, not 50,000. 500 people, quiet, dark. That's it. Yeah. That is their understanding of church. I'm forced to go here. Nobody's going to talk to me, and I'm going to leave at 1 p.m. That is their idea of church. for the Hong Kong people, what is their idea of church? For some, they were forced to go. For some, they had a horrible time. People were gossiping about them. So they had their own understanding of what church is. But if you post and if you show these people, no, this is church. Salt laughing and making food for everybody. You know, we see Finn's amazing hairstyle, promoting games. And people see that and go, whoa, I never knew that could exist in church. And you show people like, this is what it really is. And this is what I'm inviting you to. Having great invites, stories, pictures, videos of conferences, they all mean a different thing. And I'm very grateful for the ushers. I think one thing I did notice last week, or the last 2 weeks, they're all wearing this pin. And I'm very encouraged because that shows unity. You know, it shows like, hey, I'm part of a bigger group. And I think thank you first again for having the potluck. I think we couldn't really do it without all of you and the amazing cooking of many of the brothers and sisters. And so of course I want to applaud everybody. Of course this week we're going to go to weddings, so please, this week we'll take a rest for the potluck. So we won't have potluck this week, but we will continue it next week. Because we will be coming home from 10 p.m. onwards anyways. But I think one big thing that really stuck to me in the potluck was the food, sure. But it was the sisters behind it serving gladly. I was like, yeah, the food is good. I remember the chicken. I think Denzel cooked it. Yeah, it tastes okay. But it was good. It's good. I'm not denying that. But what helped me, what stuck to me more was the smile behind Melissa's face serving it to me. Instead of me putting it and going, what's this? And then Melissa says, no, this chicken from Denzel. Wow, okay, now I want to eat it. But you know, it's that vibe. And if you find that on Instagram, on videos, on all these things, people would be more attracted to it.
That's true.
Focus on relationships, engagement. You know, if you have a Facebook group or an Instagram group, comment on people to show that, hey, this is a family. That it's not a bot chat. That is random people commenting random things. We're all a community. You know, if people show that, if one of your friends shows that interest, wow, this is really cool. Immediately go after it. Talk to them, DM them, and reach out quickly. You know, make it easy for people to come and see. Have a click here to visit. Where, when, what will we do? It must be obvious to people. You know, content idea for engagement. Testimonies. Very easy. 30 seconds of how you were invited and what really moved your life. People need to hear that. Especially on YouTube Shorts and all these different social media where everything is about war, sadness, discouragement, hopelessness, and difficulty. When people hear, wow, I've been touched by Christ, even 30 seconds make a big difference. You know, for most of the people are asking, okay, what will I expect when I go to these events? What should I wear when I go to church? What will I do with my kids? Maybe you should ask that. Interactive posts, questions, run polls, even inviting prayer requests. And I think this was effective in Sydney. You know, if you guys have a meetup group or a group chat or something like that, DM everybody, hey, I'm a Christian, I'm praying for people. Is there anything I can pray for? These are great ideas to engage with people. You know, work on keywords. This is something I'm still learning. If you post something, there are what they call tags, hashtag something. Yes. And these are the tags that, you know, of course, the algorithm will use on your behalf. And so use tags that are that are interesting and are relevant to people. And I'm very grateful, of course, that our church is literally called Hong Kong International Christian Church. And many people go, oh, I want to go to Hong Kong and I want to go to an English-speaking international church. Oh, cool. That's in the name. Easy. And we will literally show up. But put that in your own posts. Hashtag international, hashtag Christian. All these different things so that people can find you. You know, tips for using each platform. And I'm very grateful. I think Sarah Tabora, our intern in Sydney, has been very, very effective as she uses Instagram as well. And these are small notes that you could use and you can go through as well. First things first, what does your Instagram bio say? Is it outdated? What does your profile picture look like? Is it really you? maybe I'll clarify it. Is this really you in the last month? Month, 2-3 months, okay, or year, yeah, roughly. Can I see your face? Do I know who you are? Okay. I'll put it there. Keep it updated, new photos. Have a profile picture that people feel comfortable with.
That's true.
There we go. I'll leave it there. On your Instagram, you need to be not only following your friends, but following different groups to show that you are a human being. Follow, I don't know, your favorite YouTubers. Follow, Christian groups on campus to show that you are a Christian on campus and you are, like anybody else, a normal human being. Use this, the suggested friends. I think this is very, very good because when you invite people through Instagram, they go, oh, who is this person? Oh, he's friends with A, B, C. Oh, okay, he must be really good friends with him. I can now relate to this guy. So this is Sarah's bio. Feel free to use a bit of it, It's very clear. Disciple of Jesus. Which church she goes to. What course she's taking. Emojis for fun. Who is she? Where is she from? And of course, underneath it, I think is very important. There's something I need to repent on. It says DM for Bible studies. And I think that's very important because it's inviting people, hey, come over, reach out to me. I would want to study the Bible with you. Bumble, I think this is something that I've tried in the last week, and it takes a lot of work. Create a profile, not the dating one. And I have to clarify, not the dating one, the BFF one. Because people are on there wanting to make friends, not dating. Clarifying that. Create a profile that focuses on God, Bible studies, have a short bio saying that, hey, you are a Christian and you're looking for more friends. And it's a lot of work. It's you're meeting people, introducing your life, going from scratch. This is who I am, this is what I study, this is what I'm doing. Hey, we have these events. We have these Bible studies. Are you open to that? Nice profile picture, very important. Age, work, etc., etc. And there's even an option where you can invite people to these group chats, and you can use that to invite others. All right. Success stories. Okay, cool. There's a lot of methods, okay? There are things that we still need to do. What are success stories of this evangelism? Why should you do it? Because it has been proven effective. First things first, I do want to lift up the cyber ministry. I think we're really getting that back. I really, really appreciate everybody who's been taking photos, doing the live stream, all these things. I want to say that your guys' work is not forgotten.
Yeah.
The many years of live streams, sermon videos has impacted people. Even though you might not know, many people still watch these sermons, are moved by it. And it couldn't be done without you guys.
Come on, bro, preach.
A lot of people, and this is a short detail that I actually didn't share before. But for Easter service last week, I was contemplating on moving the date. Why? Because most people are not here. They're going to China, they're having fun and all these things. So I'm like, okay, why don't we have Easter service a week before people leave? But I'm like, no, I want people who are religious to come to Easter anyways. And so I stuck to it. But by God's grace, 5 new friends came on Easter. Why? Because they go, oh, I love God. I think Easter I should love God and go to church. Easter service. Okay, cool. There's one nearby my house. Oh, I'll just go. 5 new people came out last week. And I think even every week, you'll notice 2 or 3 new people from the States, from different parts of the world come over because they want to worship together. And, don't be afraid. Okay, reach out to them. Connect them with the different churches all around the world. I think now is an opportunity. Even Oshia that we're studying the Bible with, he goes, hey, I live in Homantin. And I think I need to go to church on Easter. And he just literally searched it up. He came to church, we studied the Bible after potluck, and he goes, I'm really grateful to have met Christians that simply want to help me understand the Bible for what it is. And so that is what you guys have been able to do through cyber.
Come on, cyber.
Even I think just being able to have my phone, my face on the website, my phone, my email on the website, people have been reaching out to me, wanting to study Bible, coming to church. Many domestic helpers, they would text me on WeChat or WhatsApp. They go, hey, do we have an English service? I want to come to church. I asked them, are you Filipino? And I started speaking Tagalog. They're like, oh, okay, I'm definitely going to church now. Because many people are looking for an English-speaking church. Even there's one person that from the U.S. emailed me, hey, I am looking for opportunities for evangelism in China. And so I meet up with him. He's a great friend from the U.S. and in one of his own church, and he goes, hey, I really am moved because I want to know how God is using disciples and reaching out to people that are in underground churches in one of the most closed states of the world. And he goes, I would love to help you out financially and even sponsor one of your guys' events. This is through an email. Many people also even came to church, and I do want to lift up the women's IG page. If you guys remember the flower bouquet making,
Yes.
and I was like, oh, I should go back to IG and text these people again. Amen. We have to work on this. There were a lot of unread messages saying, hey, I really am interested. Sorry, the person texted, I'm interested in coming an hour after the event. So I'm like, oh, well, you missed them. Sorry, we're going to have events in the future. But I'm not sure if that's something that we've reached out to again. Many people want to make connections in Hong Kong. We need to be all the more eager to give them an opportunity. How many times, even on Meetup, that people just come for no reason, not for no reason, but because they want to connect. Even Alfred, through their Meetup page, was able to bring 2 people in from Meetup through that. We can reach many people. An example of Bumble, Yvette, one of our sisters in Sydney, Beth and Liz followed up with her for 2 years after using the Bumble app. So it takes a lot of work, praying and consistency. Even during the pandemic, when the pandemic happened in Manila, face-to-face evangelism was obviously a no-go because people were not around. And so many of the disciples in Manila, they would go, okay, I'm going to then go on the internet and see if people want to study the Bible. And Josh, of course, and many of the sisters, she was able to reach out to 10 different people through the internet, study the Bible, and by God's grace was able to be baptized. One of the sisters posted on TikTok about their own life story, about wanting to study the Bible, and many people responded, hey, I'm interested. Can we please set up a time? Small things like that. Josh went on a religious group on campus and go, hey, I'm a Christian on campus. Is anybody willing to meet up with me? And so many people reached out to as well. Let's not forget, even in CT2, Kane, I think, went on to one of the forums of the campus website, and he sees an ad, not an ad, but someone posting, hey, I'm a Christian, and I'm looking for a Bible. Does anybody have it? And so he was able to reach out and say, hey, do you want to study the Bible? Long story short, because of this forum page, he was then able to study Bible and be baptized. Wow. And so, just to close up, I think social media evangelism is something that we have not mastered, or for some of us, haven't even tried. I do encourage everybody, see where it could take you. Why do you do this? Well, more people are spending more time on their phones than interacting with people. How do we do it? Take one form of social media. What is something that you want to master? Maybe it's in your Instagram. Maybe you want to try to use Bumble. Maybe you want to try to use an app to really reach out to different people. Just go for it. Do something. And see the fruit later on. Maybe we won't see it in the next week or the next month, but God will move through your work as well. So with that, to God be glory.